Hello, welcome to actual play Band of Blades. We are here. Mostly, we're all here, except for the person who is not here that you could see who was here. It was very clever. It's a very clever joke. I'm Sean Nittner. I use he/him pronouns. We just arrived in Barrack Mines, which is like quartermaster heaven. I never want to leave. This is great.
Technically, we're not there yet. We have to finish all of our actions before we advance.
Okay, we're going there. Whatever with you. We're going there. I'm excited. So this is gonna be great. How about you, Misha?
Hi, Misha B. She, her pronouns. You kill people and I have to name them. That's actually kind of an odd, weird headspace to be in. It's kind of cool. I like it. How about you, Jen?
I am Jen Martin. I use she, her pronouns. Yeah, Indigo was right. That's what I have to say about last session. And what I will always say about it. Indigo was right.
Indigo was right.
You fools. What about you, Strash?
Hey, I'm Strash A. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm curious to see what the Legion does. Assuming that things happen the way that I'm expecting them to, there's actually a very interesting set of missions on the table, and I don't 100% know how everything's gonna go. So, as usual, my favorite types of games are the ones where I play to find out. So that's 100%. It's 100% here for me. So, all right. Lord Keeper, do you want to remind us what happened last time and also whose names were added to the lists in the annals?
Mm-hmm. So last time we went to go rescue Crimson Rising Tide.
Which was the smartest plan we could have possibly taken.
He wanted to go be a lone wolf, save the day.
I mean, he was just acting because both our sniper and our scout were out of commission.
Someone had to.
Someone had to do it.
I listen. Indigo wasn't super jazzed about the mission in the first place. Sending potentially 7 people to get killed instead of 1 rookie was not a great proposition.
But he's just a kid.
Don't interrupt me. But then we freaking rescued him, and he was like, no, there's more humans to save. And then we fucking did that, and Indigo died.
That's true.
And 2 other people also died anyway, I'll get to that. So there was a big horror that was screaming and wrecking buildings, and we tunneled underground, and we saved a bunch of farmers who didn't really want to bear arms for us, but to be fair, they had been being terrorized by undead, so that's fine. Yeah, I think I barely remember the end of last session because it was very late.
I believe that you folks blew a hole through the wall when the horror appeared. The 2 heavies dragged it and collapsed the building on it, and before it could get out, everyone booked it for the hills. And then Natalia got special training by Sora. Even though all of you marched through the night in order to get back in time. The secondary mission, as Misha was mentioning earlier on the stream about the headspace, was a success. You accomplished your mission. You even killed an infamous that Blighter has created recently that's been smacking you folks all over the place. You did lose 2 people, but the mission was successful. So 1 loss on the first mission, 2 losses on the second, but both missions successful. But the Legion's still at medium morale, and I believe we've done all of the mission rewards and penalties, if I'm not wrong.
That sounds right to me.
Okay. So bookkeeping is done, which means that according to the rules, the next set of things that we're going to do is back at camp scenes with the Lore Keeper and telling of tales if you have enough names in your annals.
Sure do.
Can I just one moment?
Sure do.
Sean actually chided me about something that is my fault. So as the GM, I have failed in my task here, and one of the things that Sean mentioned was that I never described the long road. So if you'll indulge me, since I know that you folks are advancing and I know that you're going to end up at Barrack Mines, if you'll just give me like 2 minutes to paint some scenery and give everyone a little bit of a picture, it'll also make Sean cry, which bonus. I'm kidding. All right. So the long road is called that because Sean, can you switch us the main map, please?
I will. However, I am currently moving all our heads around because
keep moving our heads. I'll read some stuff and then you can show the map.
So read some stuff and then our heads will be in the right place and then I'll switch us over.
Sounds great. So the long road actually stretches north from Plainsworth, and there's a branch of it that forks to the right towards Duresh Forest and eventually Talgon. And along this road, there is a sequence of pillars that happens every once in a while. They're old Empire warding stones. Many of them are unkept. Some of them are like leaning over. And whenever they're unkept and leaning over, there's blight and roaching from the west. A lot of the lands where the undead are actually spreading blight eastward. And when this blight reaches the road, all of the blackened grasses and the like dying earth and the diseased animals that are crossing the road and fleeing to better pastures, it just stops. The warding stones block whatever blight effects there are on the road. Now these things are massive. They're like menhirs or like they're just like big standing stones. So it's not the kind of thing that you can just like pick up and slug over one shoulder. But they do seem to fend off blight for whatever that means to you folks. So there are special rules for the long road. The long road stretches hundreds of miles. It's also not very well populated. There's a lot of plains, but they're like rough. There's a lot of like very tall grasses and all sorts of other things like that. There's just not a ton of villages because there's not a ton of water. There's no river that runs through here. So like a lot of the sources of people living are just like difficult to get a hold of and find. The villages and towns are really, really rare, and there's not just like a ton of population. So it's a very long march and there's not a whole lot there. And the special rule for the long road is that you consume an additional use of food whenever time passes here, which is the part that I was mentioning about Sean. Just no way to really get extra stuff and like resupply, because the Legion, when they're moving, they'll try and hunt, they'll try and trade, they'll eat some of those delicious radishes. But like as the road continues, there's just no easy way to get these supplies, and with the marching and the tediousness, it just takes extra energy for people to not collapse. So that's it for me. I'm gonna pass it off to Jen. Jen, take it away.
Yep. So a couple of missions ago, we lost Rookie Harish Gupta, and then last session we lost Rookie Indigo Striking Iron, Rookie Cheru Dravas, and Rookie Jala Agrali. And so because of those 4 names, I'm going to tell you a tale of hardening in battle. Let me tell you the tale of the Darkbringer. A stranger came for an audience with the 8th Empress, with black eyes and robes so dark they looked like living shadow. He demanded to rule the kingdom during the winter months. The Empress laughed at him, refusing such a presumptuous request, and turned the man away. He smiled as he left, telling her she'd regret her decision. The next morning, the sun didn't rise in the sky. The man returned and announced that since he could not rule in winter, that he would bring cold and darkness to the land, bestowing winter forever on us as the Darkbringer. He set up a throne of sorts, what would have been a day's journey outside the city, and his soldiers turned away any who approached. No light could be seen from it, and all of his followers had eyes as black as his. Weeks went by, then months. During what passed for day, a low twilight lit the land, and at night, firelight only reached an arm's length. Crops failed and livestock died. People turned against their neighbors and barricaded themselves in their houses. Fear became our constant companion. The Darkbringer sent messages to the Empress regularly, demanding she relinquish her throne, but she refused. Any soldiers she sent after him were killed or didn't return. The Empress exhausted every option available, sending soldiers to attack the Darkbringers, keeping fires lit at all times and searching for answers by sending messages abroad to seek solutions. After 3 months, she charged the Legion with defeating the Darkbringer. We tried assaulting his camp, but took heavy losses. Scouts struggled without light for reconnaissance. The bodies of negotiators sent to speak with him were returned, appearing soundlessly feet away from a fire. The answer came from a melody the Darkbringer hummed. The Empress repeated it to the lorekeeper, who knew the song and remembered the verse. When the moon devours the sun, spill mountains' blood, the battle won. Theories and suggestions were put forward as to what this meant, but finally a team of 7 legionnaires were dispatched to the mountains to tunnel in and spill its blood. They worked for weeks with no report. No supplies could be spared to send messengers to check in on them, and many lost hope. Then one night, a great crack formed in the mountain, and lava erupted over the land, bathing it in heat and light. A man's howling screams were heard all night, and the next morning, the sun rose for the first time in 6 months. People opened their doors and ventured out, shielding their eyes against the bright sun. The Empress dedicated the Festival of the Sun to the 7 legionnaires who were never found, and we still sing their names to this day.
Well done. That was fucking awesome.
I told you I was so excited about it.
So,
Whoa.
yeah, that's a thing. I have questions.
Yeah.
What does this a tale of? If you'll indulge us.
This is a tale of hardening in battle.
Yeah. Okay. Check.
Mhm.
And is the throne that the Darkbringer built the basalt throne that stands near the center of Dar?
Mm-hmm.
It's still around. Okay. That is the same throne that until several years ago there was a 10-pointed crown of true fire above. Correct.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Excellent. Good to
Correct.
know. Good to know. Darkbringer, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Totally not related to Dar Shadows now, canonically.
Having nothing related to that at all.
Awesome.
Wow, Jen, that was amazing.
This
That was
is
awesome.
I feel like I've had to put 100% of my creativity into ceramics, and now that my class is done, it's like I have spare creativity now.
Well, it's appreciated. Thank you for sharing it with us and applying it to this game. That's that was super rad. So, Jen, Tale of Hardening, what is the special effect that you are going to choose to bestow upon the Legion from hearing this tale?
Yeah. So I was tempted to go the Rick Astley route and gain +1 to rec rolls, but I didn't take that. We're going to say soldiers prepare to fight swiftly. Next mission, all specialists gain +1d to maneuver rolls.
All right. Okay. All right. Awesome.
I don't know, Jen. I really like maneuver, but after you just described that, like I kind of want rec.
It's already stuck in my head. No.
Because like they blew up the mountain. They
Yes.
wrecked it. But
that is true. That is true.
Maneuver is probably the better choice for this mission, but still. They blew up the mountain.
I mean, they blew up part of a mountain.
I mean, they blew up the mountain. Come
I
on
mean-
now. The lore keeper knows how much they blew up and everything else, but the rest of the soldiers, it was just the mountain.
That's fair.
So if the Darkbringer could affect things like Nyx on that scale, they'd have to be a chosen. And it's interesting to me that now we know a second canonical way to kill chosen, which is just dunk them in lava. Just keep them down there, they're gonna die. It's gonna be good. It's a new plan.
Sometimes-
That kind of makes sense. It's like, so like all the ways to kill a vampire. I mean, let's say you're going to cut off its head. That's going to kill most things.
Solid.
You're going to like
Yeah.
stick a stake through its heart. Going to kill most things. You're going to like drown it and like cut it into pieces and bury those pieces in like separate places.
Remember, metal, not wooden boxes. Or wood, not metal.
This is not really that complicated. It's
Right. Shove something in
that I
lava for
understand.
7 days.
Yeah. The only one I don't understand is garlic. Why the hell does garlic do anything against a vampire?
Just
I
they don't like bad
Yeah.
garlic breath.
But that makes no sense. Who doesn't like garlic? Garlic is delicious.
It is. It's the best.
It's the
Uh,
best.
I agree with you, but
Yeah, no, that has
What if vampires are super tasters and they can actually taste so strongly the garlic is just overpowering?
So as is a super taster.
Yes,
Garlic is
I'm still with you there, Misha. I think it
However,
has.
walnuts. Walnuts are gross.
I think it has something to do with senses of smell. I know that like when people have rabies, that's like one of the things that can happen is like a ridiculously heightened sense of smell. So that might be a thing. I don't know, because like there's like some studies done that suggest that rabies could have been related to it. All right, let's get back to Band of Blades. Just drifting right along this river. All right, cool. So let's take a look at our campaign phase summary. Jen, do you want to set a back at camp scene?
I would love to. I didn't prepare that part, but I can do that real fast. We are at medium morale, correct?
Correct.
Cool. A band of refugees stumbles upon your camp and begs for help.
Oh, nice.
That's pretty rad. What does that look like?
I mean,
that literally happened last mission.
Right. I'm wondering if these are a
Yeah.
few people that are from Lensburg that like made it out. You know, so while we
I
were
love
going
that.
to Lensburg,
Yes.
a few of them got out beforehand.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We did create like an excellent diversion for them,
Right.
being the bait for the trap
Yeah.
that we walked into.
Totally.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like that. So yeah, as we are stumbling out of the town, I think we probably get back to camp sooner because we know where we're going, but very shortly after, a bunch of refugees come up.
Well, normally back at camp scene. Are normally back at camp scenes done while the Legion is out, while the missions are going on? Like this is what happens.
Oh, I see what you mean.
During the mission, is that Strash is gone? I don't know.
Yeah, if they need to be concurrent.
I feel like they're.
That's fine. Who did we send out last time? We sent out the Grinning Ravens.
Yeah, to get
their boy.
Yeah. And then we also sent
we sent a ghost owl, but she died. They died.
Yeah. Indigo.
Yeah, so now the ghost owls are just the one.
Yeah. Hey, Strush, point out question. Do the back at camp scenes, are they meant to be happening while the missions were happening? So this is like meanwhile when
they can be. Okay. It's either as missions are happening, or it's frequently also when people are getting back to camp.
Right.
So like as some troops come back to camp, you can see it. The truth of the matter, the honest to goodness only rule that exists is that for this phase, the lore keeper is the GM. So the answer is whatever Jen wants.
Oh, nice.
Like literally, if Jen was not playing the lore keeper, this would be the GM's duty to set these scenes and run them and do all that stuff. So like literally all authority on her.
Okay, yeah. So I want this. I would rather see this after the Grinning Ravens have gotten back, although not terribly long after they've gotten back, and had to inform poor Lucretia that she's now the single ghost owl. Excuse me.
Who said that? Who told her? Was it Grey Wafting Smoke? Who's the I think is the corporal, or was it Crimson who?
I think it was Grey Wafting Smoke, because Grey and Indigo were like both Panyar, right?
Yeah.
I think Crimson Rising Tide was there, but
yeah. I mean Crimson is also Panyar, if it's meaningful.
Yeah. Unless you think that he would have done that, I think Grey Wafting Smoke would have.
Yeah. No, I think they're both cool. I think they're both interesting. So
I'm actually really into the fact that Grey Wafting Smoke is now canonically the corporal of the Ravens. She's the she's the grifter, the one that used to smuggle, I think.
Yeah.
Well, Flavia doesn't. I don't think she wants to be the leader of the Ravens.
I wasn't critiquing it. I'm just super into it. Like I'm like, oh, okay. Are we agreed on this? This sounds cool. Like I'm in.
Like I mean, I think we talked about it last session, but who knows? But now it's true.
Yeah.
Okay. Could have been wrong before, but Gray is now the corporal.
Okay, so yeah, I actually think we're gonna start the scene with the telling, right? Sean, I want you to play Crimson Rising Tide.
Okay.
Misha, I want you to play Grey Wafting Smoke, and I am gonna play Lucretia, who's now the captain of her own squad.
Yeah, right.
This is technically true. She is now the captain of the squad.
Yeah. You can
by
assign
default.
Josh a role too if you want.
Yeah, you can. I'm at your command.
Oh,
He's just a player.
I didn't know that was an
I'm
option.
just a player now.
I would like you to play Lucretia then. I'm just gonna direct. And then partway through this, the refugees are gonna come up, and I will be one of them.
Cool.
So
nice.
Yeah, so I think this is I'm trying to think if they would tell Lucretia like eating a meal or if they would pull her aside.
We have done a lot of things with meals, and you did come up with that no one can solo eat rule.
Yeah. Well, and I kind of think like the first thing that that they do is like they want to take Crimson Rising Tide to the mess hall and get some food in him, right? So yeah, I think it's at the mess hall, mess tent.
And you figure most people eat with their squads.
Yeah.
Probably pretty typical. You train with them, you fight with them. Mm-hmm. So there's Lucretia all on her own waiting for Indigo.
Oh God, yes.
Right? I mean, maybe not on her own, like not in a separate room, but maybe she's at a
different table.
Yeah, it's like the owl's table, right? And like till now, there was always at least 2 of them there.
Yeah. And she's, waiting for
She's not supposed to be eating alone, and she knows it, but she can't bring herself to like eat at somebody else's table. Oh God. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Killing me. So Grey Wafting Smoke. I'm guessing the corporals have some sort of insignia that's different from the rookies' insignia.
Yeah.
Well, Grey's a soldier, but yes, also I think they have corporal.
Yeah, but so for each, and they're sure, we'll go with this. They're each dependent somewhat on their squad. So like the Ravens corporal has some kind of Raven representation. The Ghost Styles one has a little owl feather. That's their badge.
Nice.
And so Grey Wafting Smoke had made sure that they recovered it from Indigo's remains.
Actually, we never found Indigo's body.
Ah, shice.
Remember, she died by herself, and everyone's like, Indigo, and she never showed up, and everyone moved on because you guys were being chased.
You're killing me.
It was a little
not
bit
like Strash is going to bring Indigo back at all, you guys.
Yeah, no, we're never going to face them again.
I will point out that Indigo's body was never burned.
You're not helping.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's literally my job.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
By the way, whenever I do something cruel, it's John's fault, and John's in chat, so you can yell at him.
Yeah.
Really, these are not parts of the game that I wrote. So, I think Lucretia is sitting at the table and spooning some radish stew on the menu for today.
Right.
Good.
So Grey Wafting Smoke did not retrieve the original insignia from Indigo, but has crafted a new one.
That's cool.
She's got out and like found an owl feather somewhere and set it wrapped it with some gold wire. That's the word I'm looking for. That's gonna be one of those days. And she and the others walk over to Lucretia, and she hands it to Lucretia.
So I have a question for you, Misha. Does Grey Wafting Smoke like sit down across from her? Does the squad stand there uncomfortably while like Lucretia? Because like I imagine that a mess, for convenience sake, is probably got like benches. Think like a campground or something. Mm-hmm. And so like squads will eat like 5 to like a a table or whatever. And so like, do you actually like sit across from her? Do you sit down next to her?
I
You
imagine
stand there uncomfortably and just sort of like put it on the table. Like what are you?
this is more a standing, presenting as if an honor. Like if you've ever seen a military funeral where somebody passes the flag, more like that style. So the squad, the Ravens are standing, and behind her, honor guard style, as she's doing this.
And Crimson is standing behind Gray, pretty much hiding. He's pretty much hiding because he doesn't know what to say. Like he can be seen, but he's not making eye contact with Lucretia. He's looking down.
Okay. I think like Lucretia's eating, so when she hears this like whole crowd coming at her, she just like looks up and then like checks again and then clocks that there isn't any indigo in the pile, and then takes a deep breath and sets down her spoon like on the side of the little pan thing they use for stew. And you can see her like steel herself, right? Like she inhales like a little extra too deep and like holds her breath, and you can tell that she's like trying really, really hard not to cry, but she's got like tears in the bottoms of her eyes, right? Like she's like desperately trying to keep them elevated so that like they aren't spilling all over her face.
Don't look down. Don't look down.
Yeah, and she just locks gazes and what do?
She like presents, hold out, the feathers like cradled between both hands, and she just kind of holds it out. She says, I regret to it is both my honor and regret to inform you that you are now the leader of your squad.
So I think she like reaches out and like takes the feather, and right around then, as she's like bringing it back and like clutching it, like tears like finally roll over, right? And she like tries to like hide her head briefly. You see her actually like reach over and pick up like she takes off her mask when she's eating, but she actually like puts it back on. And then after a couple of seconds, she like stares at that feather and realizes that it's not the actual feather, and then looks back at the squad and goes, "How did she die?"
I think Crimson finally like gets up the courage to say something, and kind of like very meekly, like a kid, meekly kind of like slides around like from behind Gray and says, there were was Josh, is it right to say like hundreds? Was it dozens? How many people were in how many people did we rescue
it's over 30. It's not okay. Over 100, but it's a significant number. It's like 3 or 4 times the size of your squad.
Right. There were dozens of people in Linesburg, and we had a chance to save them from being killed or worse, and we needed somebody to scout the way. And he looks real like he's not saying I got her killed, but his face is saying I got her killed.
She stares at Crimson like daggers for a hot minute.
Yeah.
And then looks right back at Gray wafting and says, "How did she die?"
Honestly, we're not sure.
You didn't even bring her body?
No.
There was a sea of undead. There were so many behind us. We never stopped moving.
I think
never caught up with us.
She gives you a look, and then like rubs her mouth like as if trying to bite back words, and then just says like looks straight at Crimson.
Yeah.
And says, "How are you gonna make this right?"
And I think that's when the refugees show up.
Nice.
Yeah, it doesn't say on the thing like how many. It just says a band of refugees. I can't imagine it's like 50, but
It can be anything. It's very loose so that you could showcase two that have a very specific problem or a specific request, or you could say there are 50 if you want to talk about like strained resources and set that as a scene. It's completely up to you.
I mean, if these are effectively the people we brought back from Linesburg, then this may be the first meal they're getting since, they returned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Okay.
and also I think you're looking at the faces of people who kind of had to get themselves out of town, right? Because like we ostensibly brought home a number of them, right?
Yeah.
Like we have people that we brought, but we didn't save everyone. So now we're looking at people in the face who we didn't save. And I think that's the conflict I'm interested in seeing is like, cool, the Legion left without these people and they still made it out, but you have a bunch of hungry, scared people who are distrustful of the Legion.
Yeah. So in response to Lucretia, I mean, I think there's a pause because they arrive in, and in response to Lucretia, Crimson's like, I'm going to go show them how to fill their plates and make sure that they get fed so that not more innocent people who didn't have anything to do with this war have to die for no good reason. And it's not really like, haha, it's not like I have a smart answer. It's just like, that's the only answer I've got. Like, it's not, he doesn't expect that to justify Indigo, but it's like that's what in the last mission, that's what Crimson was about. He's like, we got to save all these people. So he's like, I'm going to help these people.
I think Lucretia stands up and picks up the feather and says, Indigo was my friend and perhaps wiser than you will ever be. But you make sure that you make her death count for something more than just your life. And she snaps her plate up and like gives a curt head bow to gray wafting smoke, and like she salutes because she doesn't know what else to do. Right? Yeah. Like she's finishing the ritual, right? Like you hand her the thing, she accepts it, she salutes you, and then she's free to go effectively. So she's giving the like, I am dismissing myself action. And but you get the sense that she appreciates that Gray did this, but she knows that she's like having a hard time because she's literally watched all of her friends die, and now she doesn't even know what else to do. And who knows, maybe like Lucretia always wanted to be an owl since she joined the Legion. She suspects that she's going to be like moved somewhere completely random.
Yeah.
And so she picks up, she takes the feather in her plate and leaves to go bus it.
I put a note in Lucretia's character sheet that she is real mad at Crimson Rising Tide.
Yeah,
No.
that's fair.
Thank you, Jen. That's very important. And I look forward to when these two get stuck in a squad together.
Yes. I feel like that was information that needed to be captured.
Next time someone has to volunteer to join the Ghost Owls because they're a person short, Crimson will.
Oh my God. That was great. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, are they a person short or is she alone?
She's alone, but I mean, the point is at some point, this is going to happen again, right?
All right, cool. Jen, you good?
Yeah, thank you. That's perfect.
You're killing me, y'all. You're killing me.
More sucks.
Right.
I think it's important to balance, because like it's fun to have like missions where there's giant horrors and people are throwing them in pits and stuff is exploding and there's weird shots going up in the air, and also to sort of see the cost and also like the rewards, right? Because like on one hand we're seeing 50 friggin' people saved here, but on the other hand we're seeing like how like this affects everyone, and I think that's, I don't know, it's important to me. You gotta have these scenes. Yeah. All right. I believe so. Back as the camp scene happened, Tail happened, right?
Yep.
We are now in a combination. So like technically that is the end of the mission phase. So now we are in the campaign phase. Let's do time passes, and I will handle the commander stuff if that's okay. I just need to adjust 2 clocks, right?
Yep.
So when time passes, the commander's rulebook increases the time and the pressure by 1 each. And then quartermaster, traditionally you will spend 1 food, but in this case you will have to spend 2.
Yeah, so I'm gonna mark 2 food. We are still at good on our food stars, but not infinite. We are down to 1 food in one supply cart and 4 more in the other. So
Not infinite is the name of the quartermaster game.
yes, yeah, nothing is infinite. Okay, so our time is 2 because it was 1 before and our pressure is 1. Is that? Oh yeah,
That is correct. All adjusted.
Yeah, cool.
So let me so this is the time when I would usually say do your campaign actions, but I believe we already have done them, Sean. I just need to double check with you.
No, I've not done them.
All right, carry on then.
We know what they are, but I'm gonna do them on screen.
All right, that sounds great.
So, Marshall, what's our morale?
Our morale is 7, quartermaster.
All right, that means I get 1 campaign action. I have 1 supply. I'm going to spend that 1 supply. Oh wait, slow that roll. First, I'm going to do my long-term projects. I am going to send my laborers to continue rehabilitating the soldiers, which is going to put the 4th tick on the soldier rehab, and we're going to get 5 new rookies, which is good because we're down 6 rookies, or down 6 people rather. So, Strash, if you could add, Misha, do you want to fill up the star? Do you want to leave somebody missing from the Star Vipers or the Ghost Owls? We're going to have one of those is going to be a person short.
Let's be nice to the Ghost Owls. So fill up the Ghost Owls, give them 4, and give 1 to the Star Vipers.
Cool. All right. The next thing I'm going to do is the still has 2 ticks left in it, and I'm going to send the Orite engineers and their clockwork designs and the Hammer of Matiar, because I doubled down on winning wars through feeding people to finish the still construction, which has 2 ticks left on it, and that will make our liberty actions better when we do liberty. Instead of getting 3 stress each, we'll get 4 stress each recovered. Right. So that's awesome. That's why I want to do that in that order, because now I'm going to say that we've been able to make these hard spirits. I feel so Zemyati right now. What have I provided you? Potatoes, radishes, and booze. This is what I've made for you.
It's so good.
Priorities, right? The potatoes that we harvested are going in to the still. Yeah, it's all a good ecosystem.
Yeah, you throw in a couple of radishes and you get a nice peppery something going.
Yeah, right. Give it some spice.
Yeah.
Help you stay up late at night when you're on watch. Salad juice, very healthy. Yeah, Mikey, that's about right. Strash, can you put the last ticks on the making a still? Whenever
I am gonna do that.
Sorry, I'm making you do all the roll 20 dancing.
It's okay. If you're narrating and entertaining people, I do not mind.
Okay.
Here you go.
So let's go to the quartermaster page, and I'm
before we do that, you should mention to people why there is a brand new 6 o'clock there, because I heard your explanation off screen, but I think everybody else should hear exactly how the quartermaster thinks when he sees starving women and children coming in from Leixburg.
Yeah, he says, put those people to work. So the quartermaster is like, well, we have all these extra people here that aren't soldiers. We did get 5 rookies out of this, right? But we got a lot of people that aren't fighting staff. And I'm like, if they're going to be eating our food, they're going to be making our food. So as long as we're giving Safe Harbor to these folks, we're going to ensure that they have something to do. Idle hands, Devil's Playground. No, I just want more people working on stuff for me. So this is a clock to turn those folks into laborers so that they can help the Legion as we go on. Not in fighting.
One is playing clock Pokemon. You got to catch them all.
Yes, exactly.
This is, what is it? Resource management game now.
Yeah,
it is actually. So let me talk about that for a quick second. One of the things that was really important to me and John when we designed this game was that different styles of players could still contribute. And so we made a bunch of roles that require different stuff, right? Like if you take a look at this, this is essentially worker placement and like ticking clocks. It's like a project management, resource management game, right? Similarly, the commander is risk management, and we made sure that there is like the lore keeper who's very much like a story gamer. Like, I'm going to contribute to writing the world sort of like role, and so on. So yeah, it's a whole bunch of different play styles. Like, each of the playbooks is a little bit different. Now, the Marshal, unfortunately, they have a lot of bookkeeping, and also they have to get hit in the feels a lot and take all the responsibility. It's an important job.
It's also a massive job. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the most important role of the Marshal actually is building new units rapidly. Like, so like you get a lot of say in what the Legion looks like in terms of their stats.
Right. You get to you just got 10 characters you get to make.
Yep.
Want me to?
And name.
And
That's
name.
okay. You don't have to
And
worry about
then
naming
kill.
them
I'm
until
not-
they
I'm
go
not-
on missions. We also
Or
don't
die.
want our marshals to quit. So otherwise we provide random name generators. So you
Ready
just
to
hit a
go.
button.
That's all. Two full squads ready to go, and I will worry about naming the others as
Yeah.
we need.
Nice. Well, Marshall, do you tell me if you want to do this or if you want me to do it, just to make sure we don't double up. I'm calling for 2 actions. I'm spending I get one for free for medium morale, and we have one that I'm spending supply on. The 2 actions are going to be Liberty, which is going to give 4 stress to everybody, and Rest and Recuperation, which is going to give 1 healing tick. We have we haven't used Albin in a while, so we have a Mercy that is available. And at least some of these folks are noble Orites, so they can boost they probably want to boost the Rest and Recovery to get 2 ticks of healing instead of the Liberty, because I don't think a lot of people need to boost the Liberty, but they could boost that for all stress being cleared instead of 4. Misha, do you want to go through and add all that stuff in, or do you want me to
If you do the Ember Wolves, Grinning Ravers, and the Star Vipers, and I'll do the other 3.
the Ember Wolves, the
Sure.
Grinning Ravens, and the Star Rivers? You got it.
Do the top 3. I'll do the bottom 3.
Sounds good.
I'm gonna let you folks do the thing. I'm just gonna step through advancing, if that's cool. I'm gonna talk
Yeah,
about mission generation and such.
There's one important question, which is who Albin the Mercy goes to. Do we want to get our scout and our sniper both mostly good so that they're better next time we rest and recover, or do we want to get our sniper all the way recovered? And I think we talked about it before, and we're leaning towards sniper. Is that Misha? Is Marshall? Do you have a
I think I'm
preference?
leaning towards Sniper.
Okay, so Albin is going to. Sniper needs 3 ticks. I think we get 2 because she's an Orite and she can boost it.
Is
and
she
then
noble?
She's noble.
Oh,
yeah.
that's good.
Yeah, our
That's
sniper's
good.
heckin' noble.
That's-
Yeah, Contessa Victoria. Yeah, she's noble, all right. Okay. Go ahead, Strash. We'll do the bookkeeping stuff.
I'm grinning for reasons. Okay, so you'll see. There's missions coming up. you made a very interesting choice for me. So just to tell chat, even though our commander's not present, we actually talked through a lot of this. So one of the question that I always ask the commander is, Commander, are you advancing? And also, what is your mission priority for next time? So the commander said yes, they're advancing. We would usually roll 1 die for pressure because the pressure is at 1. However, Zora is the star of the dawn, so we're going to roll 2 dice and take the lowest. I'm just going to make a roll off of some random character sheet here. Give me a hot second. Advance roll. Boop.
Oof. Okay.
Very bad, but it's only 2 ticks. So it's worst of 2. So
Yeah.
Let me clear pressure. And let me add 2 ticks to time. All right, cool. All right. All right. Cool beans. The the Legion advances to Barrack Mines, and now I get to tell you folks about Barrack Mines, which is actually pretty cool. So let's talk about Barrack Mines.
Yeah.
So Barrack Mines is actually a town that's almost 10,000 feet up in the mountains. It was actually built to mine ore in the old Empire days, and it's remained a small mining outpost until the Cinder King arose, and Orite alchemists discovered that the mines actually contain something called black earth, which is the substance that you transmute to make black shot. And at that point, everyone's like, "Oh, it's like an oil rush." Like they sent as many resources as they could there, hoping to dig out more of this black earth and transmute stuff into black shot. So the same Eastern Kingdom's offensive. Remember that 3 years ago when the Great Breaking happened, armies marched this way. With the same Eastern Kingdom's offensive that ended in the Great Breaking also liberated the town. Now it's mostly a community of people from the Eastern Kingdoms, and they're basically here to secure like all of the black shot for the war that they can, which is really cool. So far, you folks have been traveling through Aldermark, and a lot of the questions that I ask is like, "How is your Aldermoney?" So it's actually a really strange feeling to be in a town that's mostly populated by Eastern Kingdomers. They all know who you are. Many of them think that you're heroes. So like there is like cheers and things like that. Like people actually talk to you, like they'll buy you drinks and stuff like that. So like the attitude is very different. So far you have been an army that is cooperating with another nation, but there was a great loss and people are not sure where you stand and they keep asking you for favors and you're trying to avoid politics and stuff is really weird. But when you get here, everyone's like, "Oh, hell yeah, it's the Legion!" Like, and you hear a lot of your like native languages, right? Like, there's a mixture of like Panyard. There's a lot of Orites here because there's a lot of like alchemists. There's a bunch of Semyani. They're up in the mountains. They're feeling pretty comfortable. You know, like it's very, very different than everywhere that you've been. So yeah, the townsfolk here are actually optimistic at the Legion's arrival. After all, they've heard stories of the Legion and they are hungry for news from the front. So let me give you some special rules. When the Legion first arrives into this town, the quartermaster gains 3 uses of Blackshot, which is 1 square, i.e. 3 bubbles, which is the last.
Yeah.
It's the last of supplies. They're just like, yeah, we've been making this for the war effort. And I'm curious, the commander's not here, so I'm going to ask the other officers, what is the picture that you paint to them? Because like you're getting this regardless, right? Like if you tell them a story and you're like, "Oh, the war is going well, we need some supplies," you know, they'll be like, "Okay, well, here's some supplies." If you're like, "Oh, the war is going badly and this is the only thing that stands between like, you know, us and failure," they'll be like, "Oh, well, clearly take this now," you know. So like it's not like it's going to affect the outcome, but I'm curious what impressions you are giving them. Like the soldiers have been marching.
Do you let the lore keeper tell the story?
Yeah, do it.
Yes, lore keeper.
No, I don't actually think you want the lore keeper because the lore keeper is not going to sugarcoat it at all. And the lore keeper would probably say, "Oh yeah, no, we're retreating. We're on our way back."
Okay.
But I don't know that that's what we want to say to them. So
I think it's
honest,
fine.
because they'll ask you like, "Should we be retreating?"
Because I mean, the quartermaster would say yes. Like you should tell them that they should grab all of their belongings and get on the road and follow us, or not join us because we can't feed them, but follow us because it's not going to be safe for long.
Or precede us, as the case may be.
Or precede us,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, maybe leave.
Yeah, I mean, I think the lore keeper would say, frankly, like literal render is on our tail. And I think actually the lore keeper would probably like stop at that. Like they would say, "You shouldn't stay, but it's not up to me. You know, if you leave before us, if you leave after us, if you try and dig in and defend yourselves or whatever, but you know, that's for you guys to decide how you want to handle, because there's not like some open invitation for you to join the Legion." But yeah.
So they ask questions like, what are their chances? They ask questions like, how many troops does Render have, and how many would he be willing to like throw at a siege of a place like this? They're genuinely curious. What do you folks tell them?
Well, I think I'll confidently say Blighter doesn't give a shit about the town. Blighter wants the hammer, and the hammer's coming with us. So,
okay, so you folks are gonna you folks are going to tell them that when you advance, you're going to be carrying the thing that's going to be distracting the undead.
Mhm.
So pretty much only Render's troops are likely to ravage through
Yeah,
here.
that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, I mean, if they just want to hunker down, they may wait for the storm to pass, i.e., us.
I mean, that's just render though. So yeah, maybe I don't know.
Render is the red on the map, and
Yeah.
Blighter is the green. Yeah, so
Sure.
Render is behind us. Render is like here.
Okay.
So Render may very well siege the mines no matter what. Blighter she's in the south or south of us, not in the south, but
Yeah.
Yeah, she is. She is actually If you recall, one of the things that you saw was that Blighter was sending supplies to Render, but Blighter herself is not advancing further north.
yeah.
Gotcha.
You don't know why. If you want, I can give you some theories, but yeah, they're.
Hmm.
That's what the Broken are doing. That's what reports are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we have all sorts of intel. We have, I think, 2 intel now. So we're going to be able to ask some questions before the mission. So we may be able to tell them more at that point, depending on the questions that we ask.
All right, cool. Are there any free play scenes you want to have before we jump into missions?
The marshal would like to speak to. I find his name. Graf Zardani.
Oh, yeah. Do you want me to be Graf again?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
What did he do last time?
He was
demanded to be corporal.
That's right. Yes.
And to have the Shattered Lions be added to his squad because he was down 2 and they were only left with 2. So
yeah, that second part didn't happen.
Yeah, that second part did not happen. Yeah.
Nope.
All right. Yeah. Where's it happen?
She summons him to her tent this time.
Oh, okay.
Because yeah,
I think he is expecting.
So let me have a quick conversation with you. By the way, I would like to point out to everyone that it took us a little bit to decide on missions. There was a whole lot of back and forth. So I only had today to prepare, so I didn't have a lovely hand-drawn map to add. So I'm going to give props to someone that I found on Drive-Thru RPG, which is these Paratime Designs. They had some handy-dandy village maps for like a couple of bucks. So today you get a handy-dandy quick village map that I found, a generic village map that's
Very
next to a mine, which is super important to me.
It's actually a really good map.
Yeah. I actually really liked it. So props to them. That's what we're using. I bought a copy, and the thing that I wanted to talk about is the fact that the Legion can actually get some of these houses. So it's the town is not populated to 100% capacity. When it was reinforced, they actually built some additional housing, but particularly recently, like people have been bled off for various reasons. Some people have left because they heard rumors that the war is going poorly and they just wanted to take their families and go. They're like, well, we were here to help, but it is what it is. And there are some people that that are like hiding out or packing up or getting ready to go. But the point is that there are more houses than there are people. So the Legion doesn't necessarily need to just have tents.
Oh, nice.
I'm curious, do you folks still put up your tents, or do you like come to your building or two? Like, do you put up certain units in the inn and certain units, like where do you
Actually, that sounds more like a quartermaster question than a marshal.
All right.
It is.
All right. If you ask a quartermaster, he gives you an answer you do not like.
Well, actually, here's a question. Lord Keeper, what is the Legion's policy in times like this?
What is the Legion's policy in times like this? I think if we don't have the enemy like right on top of us, I think we use houses. It's a place that was already sort of predisposed to be friendly to us. And I think continuing to like use our tents would be sort of alienating. So
If there is not enough room for everybody and
Mhm.
a squad or two has to remain, Marshall, who would actually pitch their tents and not get quarters at the inn, or do you set up a rotation where like one night it's one group, one night it's another? It's a little disruptive, but it might.
Yeah. I think it's like a 2 nights on, 1 night off kind of thing.
Okay.
So you get indoors for 2 nights, but then you got to go out for a night. Maybe the night that you're on watch or something, you're not in bed because keep rotating that way.
Okay.
Quartermaster grumbles. He says, troops that get too comfortable don't stay troops for very long. We just got 10 new rookies that joined us. They're brand new. They haven't served. They're hardly sworn. They've never gone on a mission. We're expecting them to stay loyal and not just disappear into the town and never return to service.
I mean, to be fair, Render is about to come attack this town.
Anyway, yeah, that's why I said
I think the quartermaster is all frumpy and everything, and like looking at housing and so on and so forth. And there is a very quiet little voice that says, "And here I thought you were a farmer."
Yeah, and I'm looking at the still that you just made, like taking a cup and going, "Yeah."
Your chosen seems particularly entertained.
Yeah.
Well, right. Farmers wake up early, work all day.
I'd like to have a nice, comfortable bed at night.
I am noticing a couple of buildings labeled barracks. So
it's true. So this town had a much stronger militia once upon a time. The militia now is not great, which is what is going to lead us into our missions.
Nice.
Before we go to missions, does anybody else want to have a free play scene of any sort?
I don't think we had that one. We were going to have the free play
actually
scene
had the scene yet.
Yeah.
with Graf and the Marshal.
Cool. Go ahead.
So Misha is the Marshal in a house? In one of the houses?
No, I think the Marshal still like keeps a command tent kind of thing.
Okay. Cool.
Just because tables and layout and space, and she has stuff that she already has, like her arrangements on the walls.
Yeah, and she's summoned Graf, right? He's not going.
Yes, she has summoned Graf.
Okay, yeah. So Graf looks all kinds of confident. Graf is assuming that like his hard work has finally paid off, so he goes in there. He's like, ha to people as he's walking by. He's like, Marshall summoned me. Yeah. And then kind of does that thing where you can't really knock on a tent. So he kind of is like, Marshall? And he's like peeling back the tent flap.
Zardani, have a seat.
If you say so. And he sits down like at the table because that's presumably where the seat is. And he's looking at, where the troops are. He's looking at the map and all this stuff. He's not touching anything, but he's looking at it like he feels like he has a seat at the table, as it were.
How are you enjoying your new squad mates?
Let me look at who his new squad mates are. These were folks that came from
Linesburg, yes.
Linesburg. Okay. All right.
Actually, no, because Zardani leads the Silver Stags, who are all Eastern Kingdomers, as far as I can tell.
No, the bottom two are from Linesburg.
Carry on.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just shocked. I just
right. Yeah, those were two that we just added. Yeah. Well, they were scared near to death, but they didn't die. So I call that a win. They fought their way out. Yeah. They're no shattered lions. He kind of looks like a little hurt by that, but like he really wanted to like be a shattered lion by way of acquisition, right? But we'll do. Put us out on a mission. We'll show you. Give us a commander or somebody to rescue.
Hammer to go pick up.
Yeah. Is there some hammer buried in that mine you need picked up? We're on it.
do have a mission.
Oh, yeah?
However,
He
you
sits
will not
up
be-
straight. I didn't, Misha, I didn't hear the last thing you
I
said.
said, you do have a mission. However, you will not be leading it.
You should speak up, Misha. Your voice is real soft for some reason. I don't know if it's like your mic or what.
Yeah, I know. And my
You were
mic is
fine. You were
weird.
fine. You were fine, and then it just dropped in volume rapidly.
Yeah.
Weird. Who knows?
I don't understand. I'm corporal. Am I not?
I don't recall giving you that rank.
I recall a conversation that we had over a meal.
But the marshal at the end said, "I'll think about it," and you said, "I'll take that as a no." I thought, and then you said, "I'm not hungry anymore," and you stocked off.
Oh, I thought.
I know, but
sorry.
I love the idea that he like
Graph is misremembering it.
his
That's
head.
fine. I'm
Yeah.
sticking to I forgot. Thank you, Strash. But Graph is still in his head. Is like, okay, who is corporal of my squad then, Marshal? And he suddenly is real stiff.
That would be your friend the Barton, Arun Yadab.
Didn't you hear Arun didn't want to be corporal? Weren't we? You were sitting there when Arun said, "I don't want it. You should do it, Graph."
Oh, I was. Just because someone doesn't want it doesn't mean that they are the best person for the job.
So you're just punishing me because I have initiative then. That's what's going on. Because I wanted to do better, do more. You're just shitting on me to make a point, to show how strong you are, how powerful you are, and how much I need to suck up to you.
I'm making a point that insubordination is not to be rewarded.
Got it. Am I dismissed?
Yes. Send your squad leader in, please. I have to discuss a few things with him.
Yes, Marshal. Yeah. Nice. I love it. Oh, Graph. Oh, Graph. Oh, Graph. He thinks he's so important. I'm kind of hoping for the day when Graph dies. Okay. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I love it.
If Kraft dies, it'll be Arun's fault.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Yeah. Cool. I don't have any free play scenes. Jen, do you have any?
What?
know.
No, I think I'm good.
Cool.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. Let's talk about missions.
Yeah.
There are 3. Sean, did you set up the missions thing?
I have not. Let me do that real quick.
All right. So
you describe them and I'll move on them.
That sounds good. Give me just a second. Now I have to click places to go find them.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. No problem. That's why we have a mission briefings section in Discord. All right. So there are 3 missions. Operation Broken Mountain, which is a religious mission, has glory favor. It involves looking for the grave of an ancient chosen that fought against the Empire during its breaking alongside Sora. So apparently their tomb is somewhere near here, near a mountain location, and people have been looking for it for a while. But the Legion annals mention sort of the shape of that tomb, like that mountain location, and somebody in town actually like makes a joke about something that looks like that formation. And once the Lorekeeper cross references, they actually have an idea of where the tomb is. So that's mission 1. Perfectly normal mission. Just go poke around some old tombs. Nothing bad could happen.
Just poke around tombs for a 300-year-old chosen that's been
you know,
they fought alongside
chosen
Sora.
That the living God, chosen that don't die. Yeah, no, yeah, we're fine.
Right. They fought alongside Sora, who's
all right
with us.
Operation Crimson Road, which is so when you folks show up and they give you that black shot, they also say like, oh, BT Dubs, we had more and we sent it south with a caravan that had an alchemist in it. If you haven't seen him on the long road, something weird happened. You should send like a squad to go look for it. There's a very specific alchemist on that caravan called Grand Alchemist Noctua Ignacio, who's an Orite of some renown. She apparently knows the formulas for like fire oil and stuff. Or like she was actually responsible for inventing them, or at least like perfecting the technique that currently doesn't cause it to blow up the lab 1 out of 3 times. So anyway, yeah. The Grand Alchemist was taking some black shot to the Legion already. So like they were expecting you to get like a crate of it, but who knows what happened. If you send some folks after them, you might be able to get some supply. If not, you're kind of leaving them in the open for Blighter to take, which is something that's going to cause some morale loss. And last but not least, Operation Onyx Fortress. So this town actually talks to you folks about the Blackhawks. This is actually a very interesting situation because they're like, look, there are mountain bandits around here, and they come and they poke at us a couple times a year. And sometimes we fight them off, and sometimes they get away with some stuff. But most of the time, we give them some stuff so that they're happy and they stop poking. Because in the end, they're pretty well armed and they're bandits. So like they're not completely unskilled, and it's going to cause more casualties to try and like fight them and exterminate them when they hide at like high elevations. They know the mountain paths like goats, rather than like actually like facing them. But apparently, these guys have decided that if Render is going to wreck this town, they might as well take everything they can get from it anyway, because who the hell knows when next they're going to get resupplies. So the town knows that these folks are coming, and they're like, look, you folks have warned us. We're thinking about moving out. There's a whole bunch of stuff to do, but there is a shit ton of, bandits that are coming, and they're going to try and like grab everything they can, burn stuff that they can. Who knows what all they're going to do. This is like standard bandit practices. And we need somebody to stop them because, as you can see, our militia is horribly understaffed, and like most of the best of it has left to go fight in the wars to the south. So if you folks are willing to do this, Barrack Mines is not necessarily a poor town. They are willing to pay you handsomely. And if not, well then, bandits also steal stuff that's not just in town. So the Legion's going to lose a supply. So that's where we're at. And I don't have to ask the players to make this decision. Because the commander actually issued orders before there was sudden emergencies around, in life.
Flooding.
Yes, there was actual literal flooding and loss of power. So we're going to see the commander has said, all right, we're going to do the primary mission as the town defense, and the secondary mission is sending people off into the mountains to go look for the tome. So too bad on the alchemist front. We didn't see him coming up. We're not going to deploy some people and let them die in the fields.
Quartermaster's real sad about that, but also like agrees. Was like real bummed that we're not saving this grand alchemist. Also, yeah. Okay.
All right. So, Marshall, you're going to do unit deploys here. The first mission, which is the primary mission, is an in-town mission. It's a supply mission. So,
all right. So Onyx Fortress, yes.
Correct.
All right.
Someone in chat's like, try not to blow up the tome, please.
Yeah, right.
Right. Misha, did you mark morale up to 9?
I did not.
Okay, that is the other benefit of Liberty is +2 morale.
Neat.
Yeah. So we're good morale for now.
For a hot second. Until people die.
Until more.
Hot second. All right. So our primary mission is supply. We are going to be sending out our newly what's the word? Filled.
Healed.
Yeah. Healed. Well,
Recovered?
No, filled. The Silver Stags.
Oh, okay.
We're going to send along with them.
What do we need for supply? What specialists?
You can send an officer and a heavy or a scout. So,
Or a medic.
huh?
You can always send a medic.
Yes,
you can send a medic extra, but like
he's just trying to fill the requirements.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So, both of our heavies are in excellent condition.
Yeah.
Which is good. And our office.
And we're going to be fighting off banditos.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good call.
Zainova could go either way. She also fulfills the role for a religious mission. She gives a bonus to engagement roles, which may be better on the secondary, but also like she could do well on this too. I don't know.
I'm thinking we'll do the heavy and the sniper on this one.
Which
Okay.
heavy?
Um,
Oh yeah.
we'll send Voyus Karyevich. I think.
Cool.
Look.
Who recently got his beard dyed and
He
braided.
recently got his beard dyed. Now it's all blue and black like his
Yeah.
armor.
It's all shiny and cool. Yeah, we'll send him.
Voice Karyevich is going on the primary or the secondary mission?
Primary.
Okay.
Cool.
Uh,
Is there any thought to try and convincing these folks not to go away, like to try and deter them with words rather than stabbing? I assume we're probably just gonna have to fight them, but we I don't know if we want to try and. It's not an assault mission.
It's cool. We can totally do a scene where you folks talk to them under a flag of truce or something.
Yeah.
Remember, they're bandits though. They don't obey the standard conventions of warfare.
Right.
You're not 100% sure of your safety. You're just tough mofos. So you're like probably going to survive because Legion's tough.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd love to have a scene where you try and talk to them. If we're gonna, we can make some clocks. We can see how convincing you are.
Yeah. I say that because if we want to do that, then it might also be worthwhile sending people with sway or other sort of good actions in the talkie ability.
I hear doctors are decent at that.
I don't think Rhea's great at sway. I think she's better at consort.
Yeah, Rhea has no
consort.
sway.
Yeah. None sway.
None more sway.
No
None more sway.
Okay, so which squad is going on the primary?
The Silver Stags.
And Misha, I have to ask, who's going on the secondary mission?
We will be sending the Ravens on the secondary mission.
And which specialists? I may have missed it. I was staring at you.
Secondary, we're going to send the Sergeant Zayanova, and
okay,
and Matali, the Cynic.
Cool. Is Rhea going on either primary or secondary?
That's what I was trying to figure out which one I wanted to send her on. If we're gonna,
she's got level 2 harm already for what that's worth. She's got it half ticked away with healing, but
yeah, I kind of want to let her rest up a little.
Okay.
It may also not be awful if she is able to like spread ticks around when she's on a mission, kind of thing.
Doctor healing. That's true. She can heal herself if she goes on the primary mission.
It's true.
This is true. All right, then
but it's going to be pretty. There's chances of picking up wounds. Is all I'm going to say.
Yeah, there's always a chance to pick up wounds.
Well, some missions are more about stealth, and they're very likely to end in a lot of stress and very little wounds. This one, we'll see. It depends on how that talking goes. All right, so there's I actually have a free play scene before we commit to the mission, if that's okay.
Sure.
I think there's a moment where, so like most of the time, like Zora doesn't have a tent.
She doesn't. She stands and looks at the stars all night.
Often, yeah. You've never actually seen her sleep. But she does like eat with people occasionally, usually when they come back from battle and they're talking about it. And she seems to listen with the same intense, like fever-eyed fascination, whether people are happy or sad talking about the battle. But when the commander starts talking about the one mission and like the quartermaster's prepping like all the troops and like getting supplies ready for going up into the mountains to look for this godforsaken tomb or whatever, Zora spends actually the majority of her time sitting on the rooftop of like the inn or wherever the troops are the most. Not like rains one night. It's like that cold, like we are approaching winter rain. She just sits there. And then in the morning, she just like hops down the 2.5 stories and just like lands on her feet. And then she goes to actually find Zayanova and Mitali before they go on the mission. When she so like I would like somebody to play those two.
Cool. Do you want to assign them or do you want us to?
Do folks have preferences? If in doubt, ask the marshal, because whenever troops are assigned.
I'll be Matali. Sean, you want to be Zayanova?
Sure. All right. Jen doesn't like playing Zayanova. She said it before.
Yeah.
All right.
I think Zora comes and looks at the two of you, and says, she looks like she's about to like do one of her usual Zora speechifyings, and she turns around, like she like pauses and then turns around and looks at the officer, and you realize if this was a human, maybe she's uncomfortable about something, but no one's like, it's not really clear with her. She's just weird sometimes.
Yeah.
And so yeah, she looks at the officer and she says, "You're starting to make a name for yourself seeking to hunt monsters."
I wasn't. I wanted to honor the lions who had fallen.
And what do you want to do now?
There's stories of another chosen.
Have you ever fought a chosen?
She looks at Multali, who's been
practicing with
sparring
Zora
with her, and I'm like, no, I'm
and
not,
there's
I do not aspire.
There's not a split second. She is like moving in with her fist, and you actually hear the clang as like Metalli intercepts.
Nice.
So
Yeah,
Zora's actually going to throw down with the two of you. Do you want to roll some dice for funsies?
Yeah.
Sure, let's roll some
All right.
dice for funsies.
Roll some dice.
Yeah, the two of you roll some skirmish. Yeah.
Sure.
I'm gonna take +1D because it's a group action. Because
Yeah, you should. You're loyal.
Let me pull up Zinova. Oh, I'm on the wrong screen.
Oh dang.
Oh dang!
She's making a point.
Someone's making a butt. Oh, yeah.
She came to play.
Oh, is that you, Stra? I didn't even see.
Yeah, that was me. That was
Okay.
me.
Well, let's see what I got. God, why can't I find anything?
Tally got a 4-4.
Yep, Zora's still in control of the situation.
All right. Yep. I think she's
Story checks out.
She's whooping us.
Yeah, I think she's so like when she fights Metalli, she actually shuts down a lot of her like fire and everything else. And you folks actually make some progress. You get 4s and 5s, which means that you don't just like fail and fall on your faces, right? Like so she doesn't like stand on your faces and make some speech, right? Like you folks are actually giving her like a fight. And there's just a moment. What weapon does Zinova fight with?
Her Heartwood Spear. I mean, that's what she normally fights with. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a moment where she like goes to jab at Zora. Now the thing is that Zora starts fighting with none of her fire up, none of the special effects like budget being spent here.
Yeah.
And she's like fighting both of you, and it's a tough fight. But there is a moment where like Metalli's tanking, and then Zinova sees that like opening, and then in classic fashion, like Metalli like moves the shield and the spear is coming in, and Zora just puts her hand up, and like as the spear is coming in, she's like just holds her hand out, and as it connects with the hand, you see the like halo ignite, and like the spear like stops in midair, and like she puts her hand around it and it starts sizzling. You actually see like, you know, the wood starts blackening, and then she like lets it go. And she says, if you face this monster, you need to give it your all. Because I did not, and I regretted it to this day. And then, like, she looks at the spear, and she actually speaks words, like, in very, very old form Samyati, like, language that hasn't been used in, like, 200 years. The kind of stuff that, like, you were taught as kids, like, when you read poetry, you know, your dad would ask you, like, do you know what this word means? And then you
Like,
learn, like, the fancy old word for whatever. And she actually like names the spear. She calls it Worm Slayer, and she speaks of like the battle where it earned its name, right? And you actually see some of that blackness, like instead of just being fire, it actually like forms into like whirls and shapes. And she reaches over to touch Metalli's hammer. Now I know Metalli's a cynic, so Misha, how does he react?
He's kind of like eyeing it, like he's seen some weird shit. I mean, like, you know, it's kind of hard to be cynical in the face of, hey, there's like fire and shit coming out of this person. So he cautiously lets her touch the hammer.
And she touches the hammer and nothing happens. And she pulls her hand back and looks at him and says, you should be using your sword. And then like nods a bit and says, she like points at the spear and says, make sure to use that correctly. And I
need to cut for a second and flash back to Zayanova's reaction to all of this, because it's very distinct. So Zayanova has these piercing brown eyes, and she's staring like straight into Zora's eyes when she tries to spear her, right? She's like looking right at her. And I think actually she's looking at Zora's chest, because you want to see how somebody's body is moving. So she's like looking right at the clavicle. And when the spear stops suddenly, she looks up and then makes eye contact with Zora. And then when Zora burns her spear, or appears to, she remembers that blackened heartwood spear of the Black Oak Knights. And as soon as Zora lets go of it, she flinches it away. Like it freaks her out that there's a chosen burning her spear, like she saw Zora's brother or whatever burn the spears of the Zemyati. And so then when Zora does the thing that kind of like changes it, she is like freaking out until that moment where she's just like sort of like barely not trembling as she considers like throwing the spear away, and then realizes that it's been like sanctified instead of defiled. But yeah, there's a lot of tension up until that moment where she like names it and sanctifies it rather than blackens it like her brother does.
I want you to hold on to that seed of, wait a minute, what is the difference between sanctification and blight? Because the spear was blighted 2 seconds ago.
Yes.
What is going on?
Yes.
Yes. So yeah, I think that Zora just she nods at the two of you and just says, good luck. And then she turns around to walk away. And it's the first time you've ever seen her stumble. She takes a step and like actually has to like catch herself on a wall. And then she like rights herself and just like keeps on walking. Like
That like took a significant amount of energy from her.
Yeah.
And it definitely wasn't the fighting that took it out of her.
No.
Well, Zayanova says what she always says before a mission. She looks to Matali and says, it's an honor to serve with you, Matali. Let's do the best of the time we have.
Let's go.
You'll have 2 days of marching to discuss how erstwhile this particular encounter was.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Nice.
Let's do an engagement roll for the primary mission.
Cool.
All right, so we are going on a supply mission.
Oh, should we ask questions? I know that our commander's in here.
Yes, your commander has 1 intel, and you are correct.
We got 1 intel last time. I think we're up to 2 intel.
Oh, you're bathing in intel.
I'm bathing. Yeah, exactly. So that means we get 3 questions: a 0, a 1, and a 2.
Let me double check. Commander, here we go. Oh wow, I've never seen this commander picture. That picture's awesome. Unstoppable, stoic but scarred. That's amazing. You do have 2 intel.
Are you okay?
Nice.
Sorry, sometimes people put like little character images in, and like occasionally Sean like pops them up in the middle of the stream, and I'm like, oh, that's the quartermaster. He's got cool feathers and stuff. But like I've never actually seen the image for the commander until right now. It's super cool. Let's see here. Looking for, right, I have my questions up at the top. I was prepared for this, kind of. I just.
All right, the questions are in a handout.
Yep. So for 0 more intel, the questions are: what is the highest threat we can expect on this mission? How much travel should we expect for the mission? What is the useful item to bring on the mission? What are 2 approaches we could use here on a mission? Which squads distrust or don't respect the leadership? Or how does our chosen feel about these missions?
I'm inclined to ask the approaches or useful items questions.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I think we know how our chosen feels about these missions. 1, don't give an actual fuck. 2, this is the most important thing you'll ever do with your life. Do it well. That's my feeling about how Zora feels about these missions. questions.
Story checks. I'd ask approaches over items.
Okay.
Primary at least.
Can we, if we have higher intel, can we use our one intel question to ask earlier questions?
Yes.
Oh, and also a one intel one is also includes what's useful to like it's on.
Yes.
Both. Oh, cool. Yeah, Jen, does that sound good to you? What are two approaches?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, Josh.
Two approaches. Probably. Sorry, I've got a very insistent cat here. The two approaches that I could suggest is you could probably the easiest method of handling this problem is to set up the town to be like a place that you can set up traps and stuff and shove most of the people into the mine so that the only perimeter that the military in town would have to guard is those the giant wooden fence that's like partitioning the mine off.
The wooden wall, as it were.
Hi, Cat.
She literally turned around and just like tail butted the camera. Hang on, let's try this again.
You're good.
All right. I'm just gonna keep petting the cat so she stops coming around. So yeah, so that's an approach. Is you could shove the people in the mine and have them remain in the mine and basically just like protect the mine entrance while the Legion sets up some traps and actually does the fighting amongst the buildings. And the other option that you could try and do is to actually like set up the people, like try and build out some barricades and stop them from entering the city proper at all, and like try and build some like pointy things facing towards the woods and stuff to the southwest to try and let me see if I have cleverly prepared. Hang on. Oh yeah, you can see little arrows there. There's woods and stuff to the southwest. You could potentially try and build some barricades and just block them from trying to enter at all. It's a trickier position, but it's going to cause less harm to the town in general, because these raiders don't really care about the buildings or people's property.
Yeah, they could burn stuff, and traps would probably destroy the buildings. Can the raiders come down the mountainside? Is it we say they know the mountains, but is that like an option from what they've
They may be able to position along like ridges above, but it's highly, highly, highly unlikely that you're going to see them rappelling down. It leaves them entirely too open. Humans use rifles, and Aldermani and stuff are pretty good at it. So like rappelling down the mountain is essentially a death sentence. That's also the reason why they're not coming from the north, because it would take them like a week or more to circumvent the sort of like route and like try and head up the mountains and over and then come back at you from the Gallows Pass direction. So that's the two approaches that I got for you. Does that sound good?
Cool. All right. Yeah, that sounds good to me. So our one or more intel questions are: what's a useful thing to bring? Who is invested in this mission? What's a challenge we might face in this mission? Which Broken's troop do we expect to face? What resources or benefits might we find at a specific location ahead? What might be a weakness of an elite we have encountered? Or what might be a craving or an instinct of an elite we have encountered?
Should maybe consider asking this question about the secondary mission.
Yeah.
If we can do that.
I think we can do that. I think we can ask about either mission, right? We just have to specify which one we're asking about.
That is true. Or you can ask questions about locations up ahead. It's totally up to you. You're probably not facing undead on the primary.
Yeah, that's my thought.
That's what
all
I was
the
thinking.
broken questions, unless we want to know about an elite we've encountered, but I don't. Unless we want to basically ask retroactive questions, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It is a point to note that a lot of intel is used to understand and come up with formulate plans on how to fight some of the stuff that you see. Because if you see something that's like large and has a metal cone for a face, you don't really learn a whole lot. You're just like, yeah, it's big and scary. I don't know what the hell that is. And you wander off. Yeah. But like when you come back and you tell those stories to the commander's like, and then she wanders off and like gets information so that the next time a mission like this is deployed, you might have information on stuff like that.
Right. So we could ask, what's a weakness of that cone-faced monstrosity.
Or the little exploder guys, or any number of things.
Yeah.
Well,
Like, you folks have seen some weird troops. It's not a bad question. It's just, it depends on what you want to know.
I mean, I think my vote would not be to ask about cone faces because they are slow moving, and it's not that we won't encounter them again. It's just, I think that we have other more pressing matters.
Okay.
Personally.
What are you thinking about? What are you feeling?
I would ask the same, like, what's a challenge we might face on the secondary mission? Like,
Okay.
Because I'm more nervous about that mission because there's a lot more like unknowns about that. This, like with the primary mission with the bandits, it's like, cool, they're bandits, they're coming for stuff, they're not broken, but I mean, like, they intend us harm.
My
but,
only
like,
thing is that we can't actually strategize about the secondary mission in so much as we just make an engagement roll and we succeed or fail it. If we know
Gotcha.
that
That's
we're gonna
fair.
face a challenge, like, we can't say like, cool, let's make sure to pack this in our load, which we could on a primary mission, because it's just.
Do we have any leeway to change who's deployed to a secondary mission?
Yeah.
So that's a way that we could affect change based on
Oh yeah.
Intel. Not saying we have to do that, but
No, let's ask it. I mean, this will be an opportunity for more exposition about dead gods and nonsense like that. Does that sound good to you, Misha? Do we still have Misha?
Oh, I think she's just muted.
Okay.
Yes, she's
Yeah,
muted.
I had muted because I was coughing. But yeah, sounds good.
Okay. Do you folks want me to expose for a hot second? Yeah, okay. Maybe
on the secondary mission.
I'm curious. The most of the information that you can find is going to come from the annals and from Sora. Does somebody question Sora? Does the lore keeper come up with stuff from the annals? What's the angle of approach that you dig for this information?
Oh, the lore keeper absolutely asks Zora about it because the lore keeper was watching as Zora got into the fight with Zainova and Meltali, and there's some stuff there.
Yeah, some missing things in the annals.
There's some stuff there going on with Zora, and the lore keeper wants to know more.
Hasn't the lore keeper asked all kinds of nosy questions before?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. So what does the lore keeper ask her? Like, is the lore keeper like, hey, we're sending troops on missions, I want them to be prepared, or are you like, are you okay, or are you like?
Probably closer to the first. The lore keeper does not ask Zora if she's okay, because not that the lore keeper doesn't care, but because the lore keeper doesn't actually believe that Zora would tell her.
That's fair.
Does the lore keeper take her any sort of restorative tea anyway, even though she doesn't believe that Zainova, not Zainova.
Zora, let me introduce you to the concept of self-care.
Yes.
I actually kind of, yeah, you know what? I kind of like that. I kind of like the lore keeper, who I need to name at some point. I have not named them yet. But yeah, the lore keeper treats Zora as a person they're going to interview, right? Like, human person. So not giving Zora any special treatment for being a chosen. Yeah. And so the lore keeper would frame this as, obviously this is a mission that has a lot of history behind it, and I want to make sure that the information that I have is good. So, like, confirming what I know already, giving Zora the chance to add anything, and it's clear to the lore keeper that Zora has things to add. It's just a question of whether or not she's going to. Yeah.
I think what you find out is Zora tells you that chosen are really, really, really hard to kill.
Oh, I know.
And she says, there are all sorts of rumors about what happened to this chosen. Some say that she actually committed suicide. And Zora thinks about that for a minute, and she goes, what she says is, she was my father's favorite always. And I stood with her for hundreds of years. She would never do something like that. And then she pauses and she goes, among other things, she had no clear way to do something like that. And it's just real soft on that topic. But what she tells you is that this chosen had a unit of sworn knights the same way that Render has the Black Oaks, and they're called the Shining Swords. And they went into the tomb with her.
Well, that's why we should use our sword.
Yeah, right. Okay.
She says that they've probably been dead for quite some time. And she says this so casually. She just says like, but she wouldn't have let them die. And just shrugs.
NBD.
Their oath would keep them.
Yeah. So sort of out of character, like, do I get a sense for why this chosen would have like secreted themselves into the mountain?
You should totally roll some dice.
Okay, I would love to do that.
Find out, because you're questioning someone. You're good at this, but I think we leave this up to fortune.
Yeah.
Traditionally, like we talk about threat. I feel like command units are like 3 dice. So you want to throw 3 dice and see how it works here. I mean, this is
it's just a fortune roll, right? It's just
a fortune roll. It can't go wrong. You're gonna get
good, middling, or bad.
Good, middling, or bad. Well, it's fuzzy information that's not super helpful, decent information, or clear information with follow-up questions. Your choice.
Cool.
And I mean, it comes down to dice, right? So let's ask the dice.
There we go.
Yep.
Well, that's a 6.
Got a 6.
So what are you trying to dig up here?
So I'm trying to dig up like what was the sort of catalyzing what was the cause of the chosen to lock themselves away in the mountain?
She was badly wounded.
Okay.
She was essentially hemorrhaging. She was so badly wounded that humans thought she was dead.
Right. And then was the aim to just stay in the mountain forever, or to stay in the mountain for as long as it took to heal and then come back out?
Absolutely. That was, well, actually, the humans buried her and her troops went with her because their oaths go beyond death, right?
Yep.
Zora's like, she would have stayed down. And then you're like, very, very, very like, so did she just walk out? And Zora's like, oh no, the entrance is collapsed. And in like most humans, you would just be like, oh, I guess Zora knows things about that place. Maybe she left some flowers on a grave or something. No, you're pretty like 99% sure that Zora dropped that mountain. Like, to make sure this person didn't get out. Your gut is like almost certain.
Yeah, so like, what she said was the entrance is collapsed, but what I heard was I collapsed the entrance.
Yeah, that is what you heard. You get a follow-up question. Do you have anything?
Neat. So I'm not super duper clear on what our goal is here past the nebulous phrase, lay her to rest.
Zora nods a couple times and says, the Legion is going to need resources moving forward. Have you ever seen a Chosen's tomb?
I have not, but I have read about them.
Many humans leave trinkets hoping that whatever essence of the Chosen remains will pass on in the form of a blessing. But she just like nods a little sadly and she says, but the only blessing you will receive is the glory for laying this tormented thing to rest.
I mean, remember that conversation we were having about vampires?
Right. Yeah. So like there's the pragmatic part of me, the indigo part of me says we should just go and steal the stuff. But that's not actually how that works.
No, you should. She says the only thing that you need from there is the treasure.
Right.
And she says the only reason that you know that there is anything else is because I am warning you. She will not stay in the ground.
Yeah. I guess there's part of me out of character like Jen that's like, cool, what I guess I don't know why the chosen person has to be involved in this, but because they do.
Well, actually, you can tell the troops. You can be like, folks, as your lord keeper, I totally tell you, grab all the jewels, put them in bags,
Yeah.
run the F away. Even Sora says it's okay. Just
I love that. I 100% do that because, like, I mean, cool. When the Legion was chartered, they were chartered to kill a chosen at the height of their power, not after they'd been fighting a war with the fucking Cinder King for 9 years, not after all of these losses that we've taken. Like, there is not actually a solid reason to kill this chosen, apart from the fact that she will be attempting to kill us.
Zayanova heartily disagrees. She's not 100% sure why, but she heartily disagrees.
That's fair. But yeah, no, okay, cool. I dig that. That's awesome scene.
I think you when you're done,
Mhm.
There's a slight clinking noise, and Zora says, "Lord Keeper." And if you turn around, she has an empty cup. And she looks at the empty cup like it has more meanings than you understand. And she looks at you and she says, "Tell the quartermaster he should give me the hammer." And then she offers the cup up.
I roll my eyes and take the dang cup. Tell him yourself.
She looks very sad, but nods.
Oh my god.
I forget. Was there a reason we didn't give her the hammer before?
The quartermaster's like, "I need it for stuff."
Yeah.
It does stuff.
Because the quartermaster wanted it for workers, right?
Got it.
For
Just
long-term
check.
projects.
Yeah.
But I also think there was sort of a fiction element, which was, I mean, maybe not give the terrifyingly powerful chosen the artifact of the terrifyingly powerful chosen.
Right. Yeah. Well, the quartermaster was like, we need that hammer is the reason why we had a scorpion on time. The reason why we had
Oh no.
Snow on time.
Yeah.
These are all good reasons, but I just want to point out that like Blighter is like, "Give me the hammer," and Zora's like, "Can I have the hammer, please?" And you folks are like, "No."
For the record, I will say, for the record, I would like to see Zora get the hammer because I think, yeah, eventually Blighter's going to steal it from us, all of us puny humans, or we're going to die in
Right,
battle.
it's not working.
I just think Strush is giving us a lot of hints that the broken and the chosen are not very different.
I mean, the
100%.
Broken literally were chosen less than 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't think I need to be very explicit, but yes.
Right. Well, but also that the corrupting energy of blight and the powerful and the sanctifying energy of the gods is also not very different. It is maybe a different flavor of the same thing, perhaps.
I will point out that Zora literally has a power that allows her to eat corruption from soldiers.
Nice. Eat
All right.
up all those corrupts.
Let's do
a mission.
nice.
Oh wait, no, we have one more question. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, my bad.
Let's do it quickly. We have a 2 question. Misha, do you want to go through them?
Sure. Which infamous or lieutenant might we face on this mission? What's the main weakness of the undead's position on this mission? Is it related to a previous mission, and how? Which way are the broken moving? What challenges or problems are inherent in the specific location ahead? Or what is a weakness of an infamous we've seen previously?
You've seen at least one infamous that you have not, that you could ask that last question about, just reminding everyone.
The infamous that we saw was
The doctor.
The plague mask. Yeah. The one that is turning. Or
The one that's like sewing pieces of people together into weird
Yeah.
configurations that are kind of gross and wrong.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think that one's good. I think the what's a challenge inherent or problem inherent with the location ahead might be, but I also think that might not be as fruitful.
It'll tell you what to prep for as the quartermaster in terms of resources before you go to a location ahead.
I think asking that question about Gallows Pass would be helpful, but that's more of a like a long-term question as opposed to like an immediately beneficial question.
I'm cool asking, questions that are more looking ahead.
My cat has a fake dead mouse.
It needs everyone to know.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Why
Misha,
a
do you have a
fake
preference?
dead mouse should be a stuffed mouse?
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
the toy, but it's killed it, and now yes, I'm familiar. I have cats.
Yeah,
So
same. Mine's upstairs. He often brings me real dead mice, which is
Oh yeah.
we don't have those here. So
Yeah, I don't have any of those.
All right, I want to get on this mission. So let's ask a question. What do you think?
I'm good with either a mission, weakness of the infamous, or challenges ahead. So flip a coin as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
I feel like I have a slight preference towards infamous weakness, but
So that's my preference as well.
okay.
Right, excellent.
cool. Let's
So,
have that
what is a
conversation.
weakness of an infamous we've previously seen?
And you wanna talk about the doctor?
It's the only one we've seen, I think. So yeah.
Well, technically, no. There was a second infamous on the mission where the snake was created, but the doctor is the doctor's weakness is that the doctor itself is not an undead that's particularly potent. The thing that makes the doctor potent is the fact that it usually makes like horrible horrors that protect it. If you can actually get close enough to it, or if you can line up a shot that is not, like going to be intercepted by a giant horror, then the doctor isn't really like a giant mighty creature with like incredible superpowers. You can actually get away with, like, if you could lure it into the open, you could definitely now it's clever and it seems to like want to scuttle away when it's in like terrible jeopardy. That's why when you lit that fire, it was like, and like you folks broke into the temple and everything. So it doesn't seem to want to necessarily show itself. Like you're not 100% sure what might like lure it out, but of the infamous that you've faced, it's potentially the easiest one to kill.
And did you say the doctor is human or?
The doctor is a crow. Okay. It's definitely not human. Now, you folks didn't check for a pulse. You didn't like remove its mask and like see if there's a human underneath, because Blighter clearly seems to be like working with some humans. So like that's a legit question. But just I think maybe like some of the units that have faced it multiple times are able to tell you that no, the doctor is not human.
But also not undead.
Is undead, just not super strong, right? Like gotcha. There's a difference between fighting a 14-foot monstrosity that has a metallic cone for a face and fighting something that's got like a little plague doctor mask and is like, "Mwahaha, face my horrors."
Yeah.
So.
Right. So
well, and it sounds like it's squishy, but it knows that it's squishy and it's smart about it.
Yep. Yeah. But it is squishy. You may be able to leverage that.
Yeah, especially if we get a sniper, a black shot, get a good shot.
You can get a heavy to lure its horror away from it. One good shot will put it down.
Yeah. Cool. I put that under the commander's information because that was an intel question.
Sounds great. Shall we do the engagement roll?
Yeah.
Right.
And then we should take a break.
We're all on the mission. Oh, sword. Yes. Commander, not here. Do we spend an intel to give us foresight and info? I'm guessing Jay's probably going to say no.
I think Jay's going to say no.
Probably say no.
Yeah. Is everyone a specialist or soldier? No. Does any soldier distrust or not fear leadership enough to obey orders on the battlefield?
Is anyone deploying the stags to a mission?
We are deploying the stags.
Yeah, Graf is on that mission. Is Graf gonna lose us a die? I think he might.
I think he might.
So Graf distrusts or doesn't fear the leadership?
I mean, he clearly distrusts the leadership. The question is, does he fear them enough to
obey? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of it, he was following orders, but clearly begrudgingly. Oh, yeah, I don't know. I think it's a fortune roll, honestly. I think we should roll Graf's loyalty. Let's call it. So what's
Graf's loyalty in dice? Do you feel like it's 2?
I think it's 2.
Okay. So he's super salty, but not entirely.
Yeah.
So high is good, right? High means loyal.
High means loyal, right? I think if this is a 4 or higher, he's loyal. I think it's a 1 to 3. Nope.
Oh.
Nope.
Okay. It's a salty soldier.
Salty soldier. All right.
Consequences.
Rookie.
Do we have the required specialists? Yes. Supply mission. Quartermaster, are you spending food to equip the mission?
I don't want to send food, but it sounds like we might have to. How many dice are we at right now? 0?
We're at 0.
I mean, you could tank the engagement roll and then try and pull yourself out.
That's
How
worked
bad could
so
it
well
be?
for
It's
us.
just a desperate roll.
That's what we did last time.
Well, but the thing is, I mean, 1 die is decidedly better than 2 dice. Keep
Okay,
it
here's
low.
the thing. The next question. Oh wait, it's pressure. Never mind.
Yeah, our pressure is not 2 or higher, so
That's 0.
we're not eating that. So it's a
Yeah.
question of a food for a die. You know how hard I work to make these radishes?
Right, 0 dice it is.
No, that was the
It's
sound.
okay. It's
That
okay.
All right. I was gonna say that was the sound of me surrendering for them.
Oh, is it?
Oh,
Do you have enough food for next time passes?
Yeah, I have 4 food. I have 5 food right now.
Okay. So are you spending a food? I mean, there's a 50% chance it's 3 or less. I'm kidding.
Right, exactly. We could still roll a 3 on this, but I really don't want to be in a desperate situation with these bandits. We have a decent plan. I don't want that plan to start already
Okay.
far. So let's see. We have 5 food. So yes, I'm spending food.
All right, so 1 die.
What do we get?
Ugh.
What would Indigo do?
Mm.
Well, it's a desperate position.
Why did I waste it? Ugh.
You can only play the odds. Sometimes the dice will fail anyway, but you can only play the odds. You went from 75% chance fail to 50% chance fail, which is a significant increase.
Yeah.
So,
But still failed.
but still failed. Awesome. So I think we're gonna pick up with you folks walking into the bandit camp to talk
That
to
feels
them.
appropriate.
Yeah, that feels right.
It's a little desperate.
Should we do load though, so we don't forget it?
Yeah, you
Yep.
should do load.
So we can.
And who am I playing? Who's playing who?
Yeah, Marshall. Who's who?
All right, so we sent Contessa and Sean, you can be Contessa Victoria Zoro.
Okay, cool.
Jen, would you rather be Graf or Voice?
Voice.
All right, then I'll be Graf.
Jen's playing our heavy. Ho ho! I'm looking forward to you bringing the noise. And also possibly the funk.
The funk.
I will not be bringing the words. I'll say that much.
All right. Ironically, we really don't need Blackshot for this mission.
Nope.
I think there's no value to me in going heavy load. I don't need more different guns, so I'm gonna go normal load. And we didn't ask the question of what items would be useful. But our goal is to try and like outmaneuver them, outflank them, surround them. We have the whole +1D to maneuver from the Lore Keeper's rating.
I'm going to have to tell you a truth. With 1 squad and two specialists, you're going to have to be running between buildings under fire a lot more than you are going to be surrounding them.
Well, that's a good point.
But the maneuver will be helpful, I promise. Well, I expect it to. You folks have to decide to use it.
Yeah. Just trying to think of like what's useful for setting up traps. I guess a wrecking kit.
I have a fine wrecking kit. I'm just going heavy because I don't feel like we're going to be sneaky. So
yeah. Oh, I know. I'm gonna add armor. It's not on the. Is armor not on this snipers?
Snipers don't start with armor.
Yeah,
You can
all right.
bring it.
This is armor of which you speak.
So we're gonna get shot.
No, you hide in trees. You don't get shot.
Depends on how good your scout is.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Oh no, I do have armor. It's on normal load. I was just missing it. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm gonna Is there anything anybody feels like we need to have in terms of
Grenades would be great.
Not helpful.
Well, we could bring the hammer of Matiar. It's good at wrecking things. If we have anybody who's good at wreck, they have to take.
To be real, Voice is pretty great at wreck.
Voice is, and he's got a fine wrecking kit.
Yeah, so you want to take that. You're gonna take a stress to use it, but it gives you +1d on wreck and rig.
Yeah.
Cool.
Let's bust some shit up.
All right.
Tensor cooking kit for Graph here.
Cooking kit. The other reason I say it is you have a town you're defending. It's not like you're going to be like out in the field needing to put up tents.
Good point.
Yeah. Unless we use the tent as like bait, like lure, make them think that there's someone in it. But I don't know why they do anything more than just like throw a torch on it. So it's not a real exciting lure.
This feels like armor and shield.
Is there the scout? I think has like a camo kit. Is that a standard item?
It is not. They only get it at heavy load.
Okay, so it's not a thing we could take as utility then.
I was gonna say if like the quartermaster could have borrowed it from, because the scout's not using it right now.
It's true. But what is your? I mean, Sean, let's be honest about your quartermaster. If somebody were to come to you and be like, "Hey, can we have this only camo kit that you have? What do you think, boss?" What's the quartermaster's response going to be?
I think the quartermaster's already been browbeaten enough, unfortunately, by the by giving up the food. I don't think he's going to be that giving.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I think that's.
Let's demonstrate this for the audience, though. Would you give it up for 2 slots?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think I would say this is critical. Come back with it, i.e., it's like Blackshot. It's like a reliquary. Yeah, it's in that category.
All right.
So
maybe this is how, like, just demonstrating for the people at home. This is how you negotiate. Like, hey, can I have a weird thing that I'm going to put into one of my 2 empty slots? And I'm like, maybe, but it's probably going to cost extra.
Yeah. Does someone have 2 slots that they can use? Right now the things I've picked for my slots are not things I'm super excited about, so I would be okay doing it as sniper.
I was gonna say I picked 1 slot as large weapon, being the hammer.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's where that fits, unless it's a hand weapon.
It is a hand weapon.
Okay.
I mean, you can put whatever you want.
Yeah.
The hammer is granted to you. It is a thing that the quartermaster can assign to the missions.
Yeah.
Like, you show up and you're like, hey, so can you stop all your projects and just hand us the hammer? We're gonna like F off and go smash some people with it.
We're just gonna borrow this for a minute.
Yeah.
Like you do.
I think Voyas holding the hammer is great, especially since Voyas fought beside Zora, and Zora's like, give me the hammer, give me the hammer, give me the hammer. And we're like, hey, Voyas, why don't you take the hammer?
Strash, I have a question. You had said that Zora has the power to heal corruption.
She does.
Eat it.
And you folks have been collecting.
I was gonna say,
Voyas
has a couple of corruption.
She doesn't. She hasn't gotten it yet.
Yeah.
You need a little more glory.
We need a little more glory. This mission, this religious mission we're going on is gloriful. All right, I'm taking it. I'm taking the camo kit as my.
Should I take a lantern or a medic kit?
Oof.
Yes. Oil. Take oil. It might light the town on fire, but it'll also light bad guys on fire.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Good point.
Okay.
Good point. All right. Okay. We've got our load, so let's do a 5-minute break, and we'll come back into the mission. Sound good?
Yep.
All right. See you all soon.